Shabbat Shalom. Today's video is sponsored by Bat Josefi in memory of her mother, Bela Rachel Bat Chaya. Today we find ourselves fasting. It's the 10th of Tevet. It's the day that the Babylonian king Nebuchadnezzar surrounds and lays siege to the city of Jerusalem. And for 2.5 years, he starves and lays siege to the city, till ultimately he breaches the walls on the 17th of Tammuz, and 3 weeks later, on the 9th of Av, destroys the Bet HaMikdash. But the question is, we already mourned the loss of Yerushalayim, of the Bet HaMikdash on the 17th of Tammuz, the 9th of Av. Why was it necessary to institute another fast for just laying the siege? We already mourned these events. But what's more fascinating is the 10th of Tevet is the only fast that we fast on a Friday. And Abu Draham goes a step further, that if it would fall on Shabbat, we would fast on Shabbat. The 10th of Tevet would fall on Shabbat, we would fast, if the calendar would allow for it. And it's based on the Pasuk and Yechezkel. As Hashem tells Yechezkel Navi, Ben Adam, son of man, Ketov lecha et Shem Hayom, write for yourself this day at Etzem Hayom Hazeh, in the midst of this day. This is the day we have to fast. Can't be pushed off. The question is, why is this day so severe? In a sense, in some aspects, more severe than other fasts that we have. To understand this fast, we have to go to the Megillat Ta'anit. Megillat Ta'anit is a scroll of fasts. The lists of different fasts that the Jews used to fast. We no longer have these fasts today. But in it, it lists 3 fasts. The 8th, the 9th, and the 10th of Tevet. On the 8th of Tevet, King Ptolemy, the successor of Alexander the Great, who was the king of Greece, commissions the sages, gathers them together, and he says, I want you to translate the Torah into Greek, which becomes the Septuagint. And this Torah, this book, is incorporated into Greek wisdom. And it's kept as one of the books of Greece, another book of wisdom. And the sages saw when that happened, they said, Yarda choshech la'olam shlosha yamim. Darkness descends onto the world for 3 days. It doesn't mean actual darkness, but there's a metaphorical darkness here, a diminishing of light. The sages saw this as a great calamity, because the Torah is infinite. It's God's infinite wisdom being transferred to human beings, and has layers and layers of meaning and depth. When you translate it into Greek, and you say this is Torah, in a sense, you took a superficial translation and you diminished all of the Torah. It's lacking its wisdom and its depth. What's fascinating is that only other language we can write a Sefer Torah is in Greek, and it's a kosher Sefer Torah. And that's the destruction, because it's a Sefer Torah that's lacking its depth and meaning. It's a superficial understanding, and we lose our connection to its depth. On the 9th of Tevet, Ezra HaSofer dies. Ezra HaSofer was the leader of the Jewish people, who brings back the Jews from exile and rebuilds the second Bet HaMikdash. And he dies on the 9th of Tevet. According to the Gemara, Ezra HaSofer, El Malachi, is the same person. Malachi is the last Navi. When Malachi dies, Nevuah dies, prophecy dies. Prophecy leaves the world. We mourned on the 9th of Tevet, because ability of a human being to directly speak to our Creator, who God spoke to us, we lost on that day. Again, connection to infinity in a deep way is gone. On the 10th of Tevet, where the Babylonian kings lay siege and surrounds the city of Jerusalem, and place it b'matzot of matzok, puts it under the restraints and constraints, in the language of the Rambam. Now, it's not possible to lay siege on the God city. If Hashem Shekhinah resides on the city, you can't lay siege to it. if Nebuchadnezzar is able to lay siege to Jerusalem, is a sign that Shekhinah, God's presence, left the city. And that's what God tells Yechezkel Navi. Ben Adam Ketovet, write this day. Remember this day for all of history. Because in the first Bet HaMikdash, when Nebuchadnezzar lays siege, on that day Shekhinah leaves and has yet to return. All these 3 days have a common theme. They all point to the same idea. Our disconnection, the darkness that comes down. We lose access to the depth and infinite wisdom that's found in the Torah. We lost access to connection to infinity, to Hashem who spoke to us directly. And the Shekhinah, God's presence, leaves Yerushalayim. All 3 days represent the same idea. That's why we're fasting today. The smallness, we're mourning the smallness of man, the ability to have that deep connection to infinity, to our infinite Creator. But there's a silver lining and there's hope also found in the month of Tevet. And B'ezrat Hashem, next week, we'll develop and touch on this idea of hope that is found in this month. Shabbat Shalom.